Men, though, have been conditioned to, is it not true, that they're supposed to be perfect already?
I don't need anybody. Exactly. I don't need you. I'm wimpy. So our differences are absolutely in opposition. And that's where we get into power struggles in the relationship. I want to know I just make a difference to you. I want to know what I said means something. I want to know that seeing me is lightening up your day. You want me to think that you're so strong and independent that I can count on you. But I don't want to count on you being invulnerable. I want to count on the fact that you need me so that I feel I have value as well.
So you want to count on the intimacy.
Absolutely.
The connection. Absolutely.
And if I hear, again, women complaining about making love and sex, and we can throw some sex into this tape here, women all say the same thing. You know, men think that they're supposed to figure out, what button to push and, where the G-spot is and all this stuff. Women just want to be adored. Most foreplay is from the neck up. It's psychological. You sit there and tell her how much you love her. Believe me, she'll go for a quickie. You sit there and try to do the perfect things for 20 minutes, and she's so bored. She goes, "Oh my God, isn't he going to get it?" And worshiping a woman, emotionally, is going to just get you so much farther than trying to be the perfect technician. And women hate it, and they talk about it behind men's backs all the time.
Interesting. Well, what's the reverse then? What is it that women need to know about men to make the relationships work at the highest level?
Women need to know that men need so much approval and acknowledgement 25 times more than we think they do. If he shows you that he doesn't need it, he needs it 50 times more. Men all have a scared little boy inside that wants to be good and doesn't want to make mistakes and wants to do it right. And if a man even thinks you're saying he's doing it wrong, he's going to have a very strong subliminal reaction. And it looks like he's being defensive, but he just wants to look good. Men have been trained to look good. So teaching a man that you love him even when he doesn't look good is so important. Never making men feel like you are collecting evidence against them. Men hate the fact that women have a memory that goes back as far as the beginning of time. They say, well, 5 years ago once when you did this,
but wait a second, but don't men do that too?
No, not anywhere near as much as women.
Really?
Not anywhere near as much as women. Women like to be, the librarians of relationships and have a list. And that's because we have felt powerless to ask for what we want. So we have to kind of have evidence against somebody else. I think women also need to understand that men need to be told and supported in the fact that they are working on their process, that they're not going to be as emotionally articulate as women. They're not going to be as easy to talk to as your girlfriend. It's just never going to happen. They have thousands of years of catching up to do in that element. We've been taught to do that since we were little girls. Men are learning to unlearn the things that they were taught. So if a man's sitting there and he's not quite saying it right, don't rush him. Listen, give him the time to get it out, give him a few hours to think about it, give him till the next day, instead of sitting there saying, come on, what are you trying to say to me? I don't understand what you're saying. They'll say, never mind, and they'll shut down. It's taken me a long time to learn this.
So it sounds like one of the number one keys, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, is to make sure that you never get in that shutdown stage in the first place, that if you see that, that's the thing to interrupt immediately.
Absolutely. And to let, men have felt so battered in the last 10 years. I mean, I know women's rights and all of that stuff. I agree with it all. But because we've come out and tried to gain our power again, men have really felt that we are in a men are jerks era. It must be my fault. That men are the bad guys, and if they could change, everything would be fine. And
the best-selling books tend to go in that direction, don't they?
The reason
why men are jerks. But you didn't write that here. I want to acknowledge you.
And that's one of the reasons that I think it became a bestseller, is because there was such a need for this. More men bought this book than have bought any best-selling book about relationships in a long time, according to the research. And one of the things, and I get letters from men every day saying, thank you for understanding me. So I always say to women, if you want a man to change, show him you understand him. He will be much more apt to change than when you condemn him and say, change because I don't like the way you are. Let him know you understand how difficult it is for him. Let him know you understand why he's that way. He's not just trying to be a jerk. And it makes a big difference.
Let's talk about sex.
I knew you'd get to that.
Yeah, you wanted me to. You've been begging me all along here.
At least you didn't rush right into it.
Well, let's cut right to the core here. What is the difference in what men and women want sexually? You've kind of touched on it already from the standpoint of that women really want to be worshipped, and it starts in the mind. But
I'll tell you, men want sex and women want making love. There's no doubt about it.
So tell me the difference from your perspective.
This is a big difference between us, and this one is going to take a lot of flexibility. Men are ready in 1 minute, and they could be over in 1 minute, and they're completely happy on one level.
Why?
Because their physiology is that way. They are, a man will get aroused in, I forget what it is, 45 seconds or something like that, and be completely ready for intercourse.
You've been doing this with a stopwatch, Barbara.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Whereas women take much, much longer to even physiologically get prepared for intercourse. So right there, we have a problem. And
who set the system up? Sounds like torture.
I don't know. If I could talk to him, I'd make him go through the seminar. So the problem is that women and men are at going through a very different pace. The other thing is that sex is a very different function for men and women. For men, sex is a tremendous form of release. For women, it is an opportunity to become physically and emotionally intimate. So many times we're going into it with very different agendas. There was a study recently, I don't know what magazine it was in, that said that women, if they had a choice between intercourse and cuddling, would take cuddling, 75% of them. And one of the reasons is not that they don't want sex, but that they really miss that affection.
Right.
So I'm just throwing these in. These are some of the problems that we have with it. The other thing is...
One of the things you said, though, that I would tend to agree with in the book was that I think that men relate sex as to being a total acceptance and love, whereas women can feel that without sex. Is that an accurate estimation of what you believe?
It is, and you have to think of the physiology. I mean, you can't understand each other completely. Women are so vulnerable. You are entering inside of them. It is. You can feel somebody inside your body. Men don't know what, most men anyway, don't know what that's like. Man, on the other hand, his sexuality is very exposed. There is a sense, when he's turned on, you know it. A woman, you can never know. Men cannot fake orgasms. Women can. So there's a sense of vulnerability.
As they proved in Harry Met Sally.
That's right. There's a sense of real exposure with a man.
Right.
And a sense of real vulnerability with a woman. And again, understanding those two things helps you to take that sexual experience and focus it where I really think it should go, which is into an emotional and eventually a spiritual experience of union. But you have to kind of start where you are and understand that sex is the most powerful time of energetic union that we experience. For that reason, it has the potential, I think, to take us to incredible heights of ecstasy. It also has the potential to create more pain than just about anything else we do to one another.
And we see that day in and day out. One of the things that you said that I thought was real interesting about that was you said one of your strategies, I believe, was to women anyway, was to have sex with your husband more often or your boyfriend more often, and he'll make love to you more often. Can you clarify what you mean by that?
Absolutely. And I, again, have learned this, the hard way. Most women's idea of the perfect lovemaking experience starts out with, a half hour of dancing and a dinner and, slow, long undressing and this long, drawn-out foreplay and then this, intercourse. And that takes, an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that, which most couples who are busy and have kids absolutely don't have. At least they don't have it once a week. If they have it once a month, they're lucky. So many times we get into an all or nothing pattern. If we don't really have time to do everything, we end up doing nothing. We wake up in the morning, the kids are still sleeping or they're just stirring. We have about 15 minutes before we really have to get out of bed, and you start hugging your partner, you kind of get turned on, and you say, look at the watch, say, honey, we better go, just make breakfast. Because in a woman's mind, a quickie is out. A quickie is just completely out because it makes her dirty. It means it's not going to perhaps be as satisfying to her, and somehow she feels used. But I always tell women, if you can really appreciate the value of that kind of physical communion and surrender with your partner, if you can really see it for what it is, which is a time to just feel one another. It may not be the perfect sexual experience, but it is a moment of union. Not only will you have more of an erotic connection the rest of the week, you'll create the time for that long period, and your partner will feel that you understand his needs a little bit more, so when it comes time to switch into a little more sensitive mode, he'll be more willing to do that.
So if you want to get, you should give first.
That's right.
I see. Very good. Let's talk about you for a second. What have you learned that have enhanced your relationship? You've learned a lot of things, but one of the things I do respect about you from my experience of you is that you really live what you talk about. So what's one of the most important distinctions you've learned? And you've had some challenging relationships like most of us have, but it seems like you've got something going on really well now, something you're really happy about with your boyfriend. So tell me, what are you using right now in your own life that makes a difference there?
I have made every mistake I've written about in my new book, Secrets About Men. I literally reread that book over and over again. I have to follow all the rules in there because I have done everything that I tell women not to do. I've given up my power to men. I've mothered them. I've sacrificed who I was in relationship with them. I've acted like a little girl and not really shown my strength. I've done everything. And I didn't do it because I was being anything but what I thought was very loving. I was trying to be the most loving woman I could be. And unfortunately, what many of us are taught about being loving is how to be powerless as a woman. So I have, and people are always surprised when they hear this because they see me on TV or they hear me on the radio. They say, "You've done these things?" And they're kind of shocked, but they're also relieved because they figure if somebody as, quote, powerful as I am, at least as they see that I am, could make these mistakes, then there's hope for them. And I really feel that way. My personal life and my professional life were so far apart, it wasn't funny. I mean, I just absolutely was a wimp in my relationships. I let myself be mistreated. I let myself not be loved enough. And again, all in the name of being accepting and patient and understanding his point of view to the point where I lost myself.
And you're not attractive to a man in that mode anyway.
Absolutely not. And then
No
when
man
he
wants
goes
a
out,
weak woman
and then
around.
when he goes out and cheats on you, you say, "What did I do wrong? I loved you so much. What else could I have done? Who could love you more than me?" That used to be my big thing. As they walked out the door with someone else, "No, I don't love you as much as I did." And you know what? Now I say, hopefully, hopefully a healthy person will not love you as much as I did, because what I was doing a lot of times was not loving them. I was at the expense of loving myself, giving myself over to them. And it wasn't really loving them. It was sacrificing. It was trying to buy their love with being the perfect little girl or the perfect lover. And that was a very hard lesson for me to learn. It is a very fresh lesson. It's just been in the last few years that I really faced it and looked at my own codependency, which I did not want to see. And the result has been I am in the healthiest, most fulfilling, balanced relationship I've ever been in. I'm also not married to him, which is a difference for me. I used to just marry whoever I was with. I mean, that was what I did. So I'm doing everything very differently.
And you're getting different results.
I'm getting very different results. I'm reprogramming myself every day. It's new for me.
Well, let's talk about that. What do you do each day to increase the intimacy? Because I know you're not going to be satified with it just being as great as it was yesterday.
Never, of course, never.
So I can identify.
I'm a love glutton. Never. Well,
what do you do to amplify it every day to make it more?
We always take time, however long it is, to talk about everything that happened during the day. I mean, we just, he just complains about everything and he runs through whatever happened, and he's a chiropractor, and I'll talk about people at work and my radio show, and we just hold each other and listen and are there to kind of kiss away the bumps and the bruises. And that, in a sense, lets us feel somebody loves you and accepts you for exactly who you are. We clean up things as soon as they come up, and the time is shrinking as we speak. Even with us, it's shrinking. We both have been trying to learn to acknowledge our own needs, which, luckily or unluckily, I found somebody who's been just as giving as I am. So at first I thought it was great until he informed me a year into the relationship that he wasn't meeting his own needs. I thought, oh, shucks, I just thought he was Mr. Perfect. He just was at my beck and call.
He is Mr. Perfect. He communicated it.
That's right. So we're both learning to say, no, I don't want to do that, or no, I need some time by myself, or whatever it is. And most of all, seeing that the other person doesn't run away, that they're still there. Learning to be able to be angry and have the person still say, I love you. I mean, I am just reprogramming myself every minute in this relationship. It is like, it's the best seminar I've ever been in. And the biggest challenge for me has been trusting what I'm experiencing, because my reality has been, it's good for a while, and then somebody's going to leave or hurt me or abandon me.
So that was the old belief. What's the new
Absolutely.
belief that empowers you?
The new belief is that I deserve to be totally loved and adored even when I'm not perfect, and that I can create the kind of relationship I want that gets better and better every day.
And what references do you use to make that real for yourself?
I look at, you're the expert on repro, I should probably have you tap me and have me roll my eyes a little bit. I'm trying everything I can get. Every time I start to feel lost in that other belief, I have a reality check with him. I'll give you an example. He went to a chiropractic conference last weekend, and my experience has been, man goes out of town, man cheats on woman. That started with my father and went all the way through my relationships. So before he even went, months before he announced the conference, and I noticed I had a physical reaction. I didn't know what it was. We got closer to it, and I was having the same reaction. So I looked in, I found the source, an old program, and I talked to him about it. And I said, I have this reality that you're going to go out of town and cheat on me. No information at all that would lead me to think that would happen. He's the most faithful guy in the world, but that has been my experience. And so he was good enough to talk about, why I'd thought that in the past, what clues I had had, how my relationships had not been good before they'd left, and helped me really retrain my mind to pick up different cues. He called me every 5 minutes when he was there. He came back. We had a fabulous reunion, and next time he leaves, I will have,
you have a new reference experience.
I have a new reference experience.
But it's still there. You still have the old ones as well.
And that's the case. I tell people this all the time, that if you've had painful experiences, the only thing to balance them out, in my opinion, is positive experiences. And your mind has a new reference point. So create the positive experiences. So it takes time. And sometimes I think we need to act in spite of our old reference points and know that time will heal it. And it doesn't take the equal amount of time because I'm more conscious now. But there's always going to be, a little girl looking for evidence that she's about to be abandoned. And I know her, and I know how to talk to her. I know how to give her evidence that that's not happening and regain her trust, which is really what it's about.
How do you deal with what's happening now in your life, which is all the good you're giving to other people is coming back to you in a variety of avenues, and fame and fortune, and a chance to really have the impact that I think you've probably always been committed to. And with that comes this one resource that seems to be the only limit you have. You don't have it in enthusiasm or energy or intelligence or commitment.
Are you talking about time?
That's right, time. How do you deal with that? Because so many people talk about, and they ask me the question all the time, how do you have 4 kids, a wife, have this incredible relationship, go out and do all these things?
It's a very exciting and scary time. I've been saying scary a lot, and my boyfriend keeps saying exciting. Change it to exciting, because
he's right.
There is so much energy. I feel like a vortex, like kind of happens. I feel everywhere I go right now, I make things happen. I'm not even doing it consciously. There is so much energy that has built up around me. Good deeds, and I believe in all that spiritual stuff. And
yes.
It is happening. It is just happening. It is not in my control at this point. Things are coming in.
You're reaping what you've sown.
I am reaping it, and I am trying to learn to receive it. I'm trying to learn to balance it.
Maybe you shouldn't try to learn. Maybe you ought to just accept it and enjoy it.
I know.
Just trying to. I don't think you would take this kind of stuff from anybody on your radio show,
right.
Barbara. I'm not going to let you do this either.
And that's that efforting part of me that has always in my life worked hard for everything. And now that...
So that's the belief that needs to shift.
Absolutely. How much are you going to charge me for this session? That's absolutely right. Because
so the belief has been what about effort? In order for something to be worthwhile, it has to be hard?
I can accomplish anything if I work hard enough. And I can overcome any odds if I work hard enough. And that my value will be in how hard I work. And that if you want to look at me and compare me to somebody else, there's nobody who's going to do it in a more, focused, passionate way than I will. Now, what about when I don't have to work for it? Where's my value then? Well, It's just in my being. And so that has been a shift for me, absolutely. Learning to catch up with the level of fame I have has been kind of strange. People, when you shift into visible media, the infomercials you're doing and everything else, suddenly, I am stopped every 5 minutes on the street. And
I have that privilege too. Now, what's your reaction when that happens?
Well, it's interesting. I was just talking about this the other day. I'm doing this big speech in LA, and my picture's all over town right now. And the other day I was in a shopping mall, very unusual. I call it retail therapy. One of the things I do once in a while.
Is that one of those other differences between men and women?
The zen of shopping. I shop in a zen way. I'll tell you about that sometime. I really do. I'm not kidding either. I can't go with anyone else. I just hone in. It's a very intuitive process. But
my wife would love you. She has a similar strategy.
But I was walking around. I was out in public, so to speak, for about 4 hours, and everyone was staring at me. And it took me 3 hours, and I kept thinking, is my hair frizzy? Do I have a run in my stocking? Is there something wrong with me? My makeup? And it finally dawned on me because somebody stopped and said, oh, I just saw your picture. And then I started looking on the streets, and there's these boxes and the learning annex in there. And that's my reaction. I never get it. My boyfriend will say, these people at the next table recognized you. I will just think they're staring. And I don't know if
I got a question for you. I'm wondering if it was easier if you didn't have to push so hard and you weren't in that position. Do you feel like you lose your drive?
No, my drive is so...
I was going to say, because I don't see your drive.
No, it's not at all. And it's not so much even pushing. It's been more expressing. I've done it for myself. I have not done it for gain. I just have an outrageous amount of energy. I had...
Really?
I had a psychic channel who I go to often tell me that I decided to come in with probably about twice as much intensity as most people. And so I feel joy more intensely. I see things, colors, taste. I also feel pain more intensely and fear more intensely, and that it was a choice that I made. And boy, did it ring true for me. I mean, I live at a frequency that is so high. I mean, you're one of the few people I relate to that way. And it's not always easy for other people to keep up with me. It's not always easy to be around me. I expect so much, but not of them, just of everything.
Yes.
And now what I'm finding is I am really trying to make balance. I'm turning down more things than I accept right now. I'm watching my ego say, but you can't turn that down, and realizing I have to have free time. I have to continue to live and enjoy these benefits. Otherwise, what's the point? So I'm really having to question my values. Success has made me question my values more than failure ever did.
So let's address that issue, because I think a lot of women in our culture are dealing with that issue for the first time in history. That is, they have been taught that here you should go out and become the successful businesswoman, let's say, for example. But how can you do that and really take care of your relationship? And how can you do that and really take care of your kids?
Mm-hmm.
And you're not in a position of having kids, but you are in a position of wanting to nurture your relationship. So how do you do that amidst all of this? Is it just setting down and saying, this is the limit, or this is the specific time I'm going to be with this person I
absolutely.
love?
I mean, I schedule him in all the time. I mean, he is my priority.
Now, how does he feel about that?
He schedules me in. He's just as busy as I am. He's building a chiropractic practice. He has patience. But I spend tons of time with him. I mean, he is the most important thing in my life. The relationship is the most important thing in my life.
And in that sentence, I hear the success of your relationship.
I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And it's scary to have it be that way. But, I mean, when was it? A few weeks ago. I don't know. I guess I heard that People Magazine was doing a story on me, and CBS. And he had, separate from that, given me a little card that day. That card made me happier than anything else that happened to me. Now, that's wonderful, and it sounds great. And it's also scary, because many times I think, would I be enjoying all of this right now if I were not in a relationship? I don't know the answer to that. I don't want to know the answer to that. I really believe on one level I'll always be taken care of. I have always found whoever I needed to be with. But life is complete for me in relationship. And it doesn't have to be that way for everybody. But I learned so much from that process. I mean, that is my meditation. That is my aerobics, emotional aerobics.
Right.
That is my teaching. It's my constant seminar process, and I am totally addicted to it. I am the cleanest person you've ever met. My diet, I've never done drugs, I've never drunk, but love, I'm an addict.
Well, a pretty healthy thing to be addicted to. Maybe it's being addicted to life.
I think so. They are the same thing to me.
Me too. Let me ask you a couple of final questions. What's your most treasured memory in your life so far?
I was surprised that this came up. 2 years ago, I was in the process of getting a divorce. And the marriage had ended in a messy way. I was not proud of how it ended. I'd fallen in love with somebody else. There was all kinds of complications. And I was in a tremendous amount of pain because I had wanted this marriage to work so badly, and it had not. And I felt I had failed because I had not rescued my partner and fixed him. 2 days after we decided to separate, and I was just in bed hysterical, I had a seminar to give. And there were people coming from all over the country, hundreds of them, coming to the Love Doctor to fix their relationships. And I didn't know how I could even go on. My staff, I had to tell them about it. They were shocked. How could you get a divorce, and how could this happen? And, all the scandal. And I realized that there was only one way for me to do it, which was total honesty, and not to walk in and pretend everything was fine. And I was scared to death because of my picture that, and we've seen this earlier in our talk, that if I'm perfect, I'll be loved. But if I'm not, I won't be. So I walked in, eyes completely red, looking like a wreck. And the first thing I said, and they're all clapping, here we are from all over the country, and I said, I'm in a lot of pain. I am going through the same thing you are. I'm going to take the seminar with you. I'm going to do all the processes. I need this. Thank God it's here. And I trust this seminar for you and for me, and hopefully it'll work for both of us. And I was scared to death because usually I am, the ultimate cheerleader visionary, and they just all kind of surrender to my belief that they can do it, and they take the leap and, walk through the emotional fires.
Right.
And I poured my heart out all weekend. I cried hysterically. I shared. I called on myself. I did every process.
Called on yourself.
Yes, And Saturday night, and I mean, it was really bearing my soul. Saturday night, a man came up and said, "Are you ready to take another leap?" And I said, "What does he want, the details of what I did?" And he said, "Close your eyes." And he put on our tape recorder, the Bette Midler song, "Wind Beneath My Wings," and had the lights turned down, and the whole room sang the song to me. And they all came up on stage, and this is 200 people, and just held me. And I wept from such a deep place. I was having past life memories. I was experiencing unconditional love for the first time in my life, that I had let it in. They did not love me because I was perfect, because I was a teacher. They loved me because I was Barbara. And I felt so cleansed and healed in that experience. I just sat there and wept and wept and wept for 15 minutes. And they kept playing the song over and over again. And they just swayed around me. And I really felt that they had been sent from God to heal something very deep in me. My life really changed after that. I changed the way I deal with people, the way I teach, how much I let people in. It really cured me of feeling I have to be perfect to be loved. And my style has even relaxed more in the last few years than it was before that. And I will have infinite gratitude to that man and those people, because I needed to learn that more than anything else in my life. And I know I will continue to learn it. But that experience of it stands out as a very timeless moment of the truth about who I was.
Wonderful and nice for people to realize that in a moment a whole life can be changed, and that change has a processional effect now on millions of people. So that's pretty wonderful. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Hawaii. I've thought a lot about that. I feel such a commitment to our planet, to millions of people I haven't even met, to really making a difference. I don't see myself pulling back from what I do. I'm 39. I have to decide if I want to have a family or not. I can't really see it right now. I don't want to miss out on something very special, but I don't want to be either a 50% mother or a 50% teacher. And so it's a decision I have to make. I'm sure I'll make the right one, but it's scary to have to make it. I would like to be, someone asked me once who was interviewing me, you're becoming famous. Did you ever want to be famous? And I said, no, but I want to be influential. I want to be influential enough to go in the school system and have them say, how would you like to change what we do? I would like to really create a loving place in which we all live. I am a total idealist and visionary, and I'm not going to let go of that. As much as I can do, I want to do. I really know I've been sent here for a reason. I'm not the most brilliant thinker in the world or the most original thinker, but I really understand communication. I think I know how to take important concepts and ideas and reach people and touch them. And I want to touch as many people as I can and open their hearts to love, hopefully so that at the end of my life, there will be millions of people who are living much more loving lives because of whatever I did. And however I'm meant to do that, I'm up for the job.
Well, you're doing an incredible job, and it's been our privilege to be with you here. I'm sitting here and I'm gearing myself down, because otherwise I'd dominate this interview going right back at you, because I feel like I'm looking into a mirror of all the things that I respect and love most in people, and hopefully that I respect and love myself in you. And I'm very, very appreciative of this, and I hope our friendship will grow over the years.
Thank you.
I'm sure
I do
it will.
too.
I'm sure it will. And I want to give your number again so that people will get a hold of you, and I'll make sure I recommend both books again. Again, I read them both last night. I'm totally impressed, as you can imagine. I couldn't sleep till I completed them. First book by Dr. Barbara DeAngelis is How to Make Love All the Time, and the current bestseller is Secrets About Men That Every Woman Should Know. And you can also contact Barbara again at what number here in Los Angeles?
Yes, the LA Personal Growth Center, where I teach making love work, 213-820-6600.
And I guess the last thing I'd like to ask you is, how do you want to be remembered? I think I know the answer, but I'd like to hear it from you. When this journey is complete, at least in this plane.
As someone who reminded people of the importance of love.
You've already done that, so that's complete. And it'll be nice to see it just continue to expand throughout the years. Thanks again.
Thank you.
God bless.